Good weekly close, Banter fam. We ended up closing around 30,600. Now, what we are doing, we spoke about this yesterday, a short-term pullback within the market. We had the smaller time frame RSIs at the top, and we knew there would be some sort of retest. Now, this retest is important, guys, because we hold the certain levels on any altcoins that you missed the previous pump. This is where you buy the red, the small red. I think right now we are in a range where you're getting big legs to the upside, quick, small legs to the downside, and therefore you just want to keep level-headed and buying good support levels. Previous rooftops that we've broken through, we come to test now, and we're looking to bounce. This is a great weekly close from Bitcoin. Therefore, I do think there is a continuation. I think we are still fighting the major resistance of this area over here. But once you get through that area over there, you start to see a weekly squeeze. Now, this still has been daily squeezes, not a weekly squeeze just yet. The weekly squeeze is a bigger one, and it's a more longer one where you can actually build positions and hold them for a good period of time. So we want to pay attention to this current small little pullback right now. We took a small short last night, which is currently doing well at the moment on Bitcoin, but I'm about to TP it very soon right now, as I do think we have two levels for Bitcoin of where we can be buying on this current pullback now, but not only Bitcoin. I'll be focusing a lot on the altcoins, and I have a few different altcoins for you guys today, as I think Ape token, I think Aptos, I think 𝗬𝗍𝗍𝗍, I think Fantom, I think BlockStack, I think Optimism, I think ALGO, I think Solana. These are all ones that I still think are at great, incredible levels, and I still think there's a lot of growth to the upside. We're going to snipe those entries. We're going to have a fantastic week. Hope you're ready for it. No more wasting time. Let's get into the show.
Click, click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click, click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click, click, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror, mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click, click. Enter the sniper.
Banter fam, hope you had a fantastic weekend. We've got a great week ahead of us. I think the market's moving. We're getting some acceleration to the up and the downside, and therefore you need to time your trades. You need to be very smart of how you play this market. You still need to be in the understanding that you want to buy red and sell green. The only difference this time is we started to make a slight difference in the momentum. We can start to see that right now. Getting good long entries, holding them for slightly longer makes sense, but also taking profits on them. Very important. Possible quick shorts, and then setting up for the longs. So when it comes to the higher time frame right now, we have Bitcoin reset on the weekly stochastic RSI, crossing to the upside. We've had an incredible weekly candle, which sits us right at resistance right now. And then we have a huge squeeze that's possibly taking Bitcoin to the $35,000 to the $40,000 level. Now, this is big, guys. Very, very, very big. Secondly, we have the dominance sitting at 51.5%. It's not at the major resistance of 53% just yet, which basically puts us in the understanding that there's still room to go with the dominance to the upside. Now, if you look at Bitcoin sitting at the major resistance at 31,000, and you still have fuel from dominance to say that it's still going to suck altcoins for a while longer, basically implies to me that Bitcoin's got strength to push through this resistance. And as long as we hold these critical support areas, it's got a lot of fuel to get a lot higher than what we actually think. But secondly, what we are getting now, guys, is we're getting a huge popcorn effect. We're starting to see tokens take off. And for example, if you have a look this morning, all of a sudden, Near Protocol just took off. Now, there was news that came out, but end of the day, there's always going to be news. There was lots of FUD that was bringing the markets down. Now you're going to have the little popcorn effect. And look at this, guys. So basically what we're doing is we are spreading our bullets, and we are looking at many different tokens. But this is exactly why you do that, because ultimately not every single altcoin is going to move at once, but there are going to be these random pumps that come out of nowhere. And these are incredible gains, guys, that come out of any single moment. And what's crazy about it is these are short-term gains, but you start looking at the higher time frames and you start seeing it where these tokens are at. End of the day, we fight our asses off for that one entry that you can hold throughout the whole bull market. That's all you're trying to do through a whole bear market, through all of that, especially the long-term part of your portfolio. You're trying to get one, baby, one that you can use to make money easy. And that's the big thing, by getting it in such an early range. As you can see, a lot of these tokens are just sitting at crazy levels. And I see weekly double bottoms, guys. Weekly double bottoms of these tokens. And in the day, you look at where they've been and where they can be going. And this is why you got to stay focused now. We are getting some bullish momentum, and it is restarting with Bitcoin. So the first thing, guys, that I want you guys to do is sign up with Banter Bubbles. You jump on over here, you can get on the net, you can get on the App Store, get Banter Bubbles. There is so much happening with this, and it's about to unroll very quickly. The next 2 months, you're going to see a lot happening here. Many different products within this, but ultimately, guys, you get the bubbles, and the bubbles are so good because what you're doing is you're looking at the chart now, and you can see there's a small Bitcoin pullback at the moment. But you got these support levels of where Bitcoin can bounce, right? And then all of a sudden, when you do see a Bitcoin bounce, you want to jump to the bubbles here on the hour, on the daily, and you want to see, okay, the Bitcoin just had a bounce. What's bouncing the quickest? And then you're like, whoa, okay, ALGO, something's happening here. What's that? Oh, NEAR. Okay, cool. So it like highlights and it gives you a few tokens. And there's this token over here as well, Injective Protocol, I want to speak about today. I think there might be a great entry on Injective. But you're using this to see what's moving. So when you want to trade, you can jump into them very quickly. Plus, there's a chat inside the blocks as well, where you can go in and see the fundamentals of why that token's performing. And NEAR is probably the best one to be jumping in today to go see what's going on there. There is some sort of partnership happening, but it's good to also know that the pump is happening for a specific reason too. Secondly, above that, guys, we have Sniper School. So remember, if you go through on Sniper School, this starts you off from the very beginning, teaching you all the basic things, all the exchanges, trading journals, all the patterns, and then longing, shorting, leverage parts of the course, portfolio splitting systems, the strategies. There's so much here. So join Sniper School. How do you join Sniper School? You click the registration below in the description. You click that. It sends you an email, gives you 3 basic steps. You want to open an exchange account. The accounts that we have is we have CoinW for those that are in the US. No FICA and no VPN needed to be using that to trade derivatives, futures, anything like that. And then we have Bybit, we have BitGet, we have Maxi. If you open any of the exchanges below with the Sniper School link and you put in $100 that you get to trade with, you can then put in your user ID. They'll just make sure that they verify that you have used our exchange link. Remember, we make money on trading fees. And once you have that, you accept it and you get a full sponsorship to get the whole school for free for you guys. So join Sniper School. Yeah, that's it for now. Okay. Let's jump in and let's have a look at what we are trading, what we are looking at the moment. So the first thing is I'll quickly go through Bitcoin. Weekly close, very good weekly close. Absolutely incredible weekly close when it comes to the bullish engulfing. We had a lot of work from the bears. It all got absorbed quickly in 1 week, and now we're sitting at a major resistance. One thing I did like about it is we did go slightly higher. So I like that we didn't double top where we literally just made the same level. We did go slightly higher. And that for me plays a big role in the next move because yes, smaller time frame RSIs was slitting a little bit at the top and it was saying a short-term pullback coming into play. But I think this little push through that wall over there is going to allow us to get through it on the next strong push to the upside. And I think we're going to not have much resistance when we do get through that. I think it will start to flow pretty quickly to the upside. So once we through this level over here, my next targets are between $36,000 and $37,000 on the weekly. So I start to look at that and I'm like, okay, cool. Firstly, I know this is my original support area over here. So any areas I want to buy Bitcoin, I'm not buying Bitcoin right now. Okay, if it's small trades, maybe, but any long-term positions, I'm not buying Bitcoin right now. It's at resistance. It's already gone through. That's fine. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to plan Bitcoin's next move to get into the altcoins, the ones that haven't released just yet, the ones that still have a very far way to go to the upside. So ultimately, I'm still tracking Bitcoin, but I'm mainly tracking it to get my entries on the altcoins and to see where are the major levels. The only areas I'm interested in Bitcoin is still back at the areas of 26 to 27, 28. Now, I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon right now, but that's only the real levels that I want Bitcoin at. But remember, right now, because dominance is still to the upside and you've had dominance push really high, sitting above the 51%, everything is still following Bitcoin. So we trap in, we see what's happening with Bitcoin, and then therefore we start taking that data and start making decisions within the altcoins. So what I'm looking at on the shorter time frame with Bitcoin at the moment is I'm now tracking the small pullback. And what we have is we have two supports. We have the current support we're at right now, which is the $30,000 level we haven't been able to get through for a little while. We're through it now, and we do have one line of support there. So what I'm looking at now is I'm looking to see if we get a higher low here and we end up breaking this trend line, we're not going to have that bigger pullback just yet. Because that's the thing. Are we going to have the pullback and come retest the breakout that we just had now, which was the 27 to 28,000? Or are we going to keep going and just keep pushing through? Because we've had a few weeks to the downside, and now it's the bull's time to return. And you can have the same amount of momentum that was to the downside exactly to the upside at the moment. So on the hour, I got this trend line over here, and I'm currently tracking. The levels that I have, like I said, is the 30,000. I then have a level at the 29,000 mark, and then I do have a level at 28,000. So those are my three certain areas of where I'm expecting a bounce if there is any pullbacks to those areas. And this current trend line over here is one that's going to help me detect which one is it hitting. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your blocks over here on the hour. It's okay, guys. Remember, we're taking trades on higher time frames now, but it is okay to zoom into smaller time frames just to see the exact areas so you can make sure you get your entries. So you're going to take a block at the moment, and you're going to put a block at this area over here, which is all of this support here. You'll then take another block and you'll say, okay, cool. That's the next support there. And then you'll take this block here at the bottom, which is the breakout block over there. And you're like, okay, cool. We're having a small pullback at the moment. These are the three major areas where there'll be interest. Okay. And what you want to see is basically we've already hit this block over here. But let's say price goes here and it breaks trend. Boom. That means on the shorter time frame, this was the area of support that hit correct. And ultimately, we are going up first before we do decide to come to lower areas, if not even come back to those areas. We just remember what we're doing. We're not trying to predict. We're just trying to see what are the levels. And ultimately, how do I know that that was the level? And you will break the trend line on whatever level you hit. So another example is if price decides to start make its way down over here and then starts to come up and breaks that trend line, then that was the one. So ultimately, we're just setting out to see where are the areas of interest. And then when the trend line breaks is when we start to flow out. I don't think Bitcoin's going to come lower just yet. I was waiting for it last night to see if they were going to come with the push to the downside. Therefore, I did have a link position where I took like $80 profits, literally at the stop loss, because it was great. I wish I was awake during the night to take more profits that were there at the point. But ultimately, it was they either going to push this thing down hard during weekly close. And if they don't, I think they're just going to continue strong. So I'm sort of sitting at the area now of around 60% that I don't think Bitcoin goes much lower than 30K at the moment. I do have these possibilities, yes, but I do think we're going to gain interest here. And I do think Bitcoin's going to start the momentum to the upside. So ultimately, I'm zoomed in now and I'm looking at, okay, what would the trades be for today if Bitcoin decides to start breaking to the upside? You know, that's the big thing. So that's my current play at the moment, guys. And remember, past 31K is where I start to see the huge acceleration. Looking at dominance at the moment, it's sort of ranging right now. So what you're going to get, especially here on the 1 hour, is you're going to start getting these random pushes where you're going to get a Bitcoin pump and altcoins will lag. And then you'll get a random altcoin pump. And it's like basically this flow between the two where they're opening these chambers of Bitcoin, altcoins, which is great, which means overall, guys, Bitcoin might be slightly overpriced at the moment, but altcoins, this is what you want. You want these random pumps. Look how they just come out of nowhere. And let's actually go back here to Banter Bubbles and actually have a look at what a lot of these altcoins have been doing within the last week. You know, they end up getting these random pumps that come out of nowhere. Now, it's a few little things to see which coin is going to have that pump. It is then breaking through 200 daily moving average. It is then breaking through long-term trends to the downside. It is then breaking through the resistance of the current dump that just happened. And I'll go through this on the chart for you now. You catch coins that are doing this early and are breaking trend to Bitcoin. That's how you start to detect which coin is going to be the next strength coin to the upside. So at the moment, just jumping back over here, let's see. Yes. hold on 2 seconds. There we go. So the Bitcoin dominance at the moment, just ranging, therefore creating the popcorn effect. When it comes to Ethereum and that at the moment, it did break out a trend. And for me, this is Ethereum longs. So currently building some big Ethereum longs. We do have interest right now where we stand at the moment. And there is a little bit more interest around the $1,800 level, which maybe means another 3 to 4% to the pullback levels, which I'm not sure we're going to get yet. But for me, ETH is at the level where I still think it is cheap-ish. I do. Now, I'm not going absolutely crazy. I did go crazy at 1,600 to 1,700, but I think ETH is going to join the party soon. I think it's going to slow down the Bitcoin dominance. I think the ETH dominance is going to break to the upside, and I think we're going to finally release Ethereum. So I'm definitely focusing on Ethereum entries this week, as I do think that's one of the next ones to rally to the upside, and therefore I'm focusing on altcoins. Now, which of ones we've been focusing on is obviously BlockStacks. There is a slight more. It's not a buy right now, but we do know how powerful BlockStacks is at the moment, and we want to get some entries. So I do think there's a bit more downside right now. We'll see as it comes, but ultimately only if I get it there is where I want it. But anyone that's got BlockStacks from our previous entries, I'll be holding strong, guys. I think that this could possibly be breaking these highs very soon. And ultimately, that is still a good 70-80% away. So not new entries at the moment, but definitely be holding. Now, one token I want to speak about now, which I still thought was extremely cheap within the dump and getting down to the 20 cents mark, was Fantom. Fantom is one of the funnest tokens to trade when the market goes bullish. And the reason why it's been taking a little bit of time at the moment is because it lost this major level when those dumps started. And ultimately, it's there at, what was previously an incredible support is now resistance. But ultimately, what you got to remember is it's going to take a lot of volume to get through this area. And you always want to fish when you start to slow down on an area of where there's a huge ass gap. Because if all of a sudden Fantom starts to break back into this level again. So for example, get my drawing tool out over there. 2 seconds. There we go. So ultimately from here, once it gets through here, guys, I think it's going to rip. I think it's going to fly very quickly to the major trend line. So if you go to Fantom and you actually go look, okay, where are we currently with Fantom? Firstly, it bounced in the lower range over here. Yes, it is fighting a previous rooftop over here. But from here, there's a huge acceleration to the major trend line. So if you had to start to see, okay, if I start prepping now and I start getting flags here and start prepping for this move, ultimately I can be looking at a 30% move to the upside as my next trade. So as a trader, you're like, okay, this is one of the next ones that may not be moving strong just yet, but you know why. It's at a major resistance, but it gets through this resistance. And, we're back to the mid 40 cents very quickly. And then what's crazy above that is if it breaks through that range. All of a sudden, if this does start to make its way to these higher ranges here and start to break these ones, now all of a sudden you're sitting on an entry that could end up being 100, 200% entry, if not back to the highs. Who knows? The bull market may have just started right now. And that's a big thing that we have to think about and understand. So for me, guys, if you jump into Fantom over here, and you see on the shorter time frame, you will see that we basically started to form a little flag to the downside. So if you go to the 1 hour and you put this over here, boom, that was the little flag. And right now it's coming in for the retest. So for any leverage positions today, I am looking at taking any short-term entries on the retest over here, and I'm putting my stops just below the area. But from here, I do think this could be an entry, especially if that was the temporary bottom for Bitcoin, this little pullback, where this could go back to 40 cents. And I end up getting myself into a great entry when it comes to that. So remember, guys, your long-term positions right now, they're in and they're holding strong. But you do have a trading portfolio and you do have a smaller leverage portfolio or anything like that. If you want to do leverage and get into it, don't take your own money. Go take a profitable trade that you've made just now, take $100 from that profitable trade, and then go trade it. Learn to use these tools of being able to borrow money with free money. Don't use your money. Start learning how to become emotionally detached from your tokens and your trades. And the way you do that is because I can say in the chat right now, I will give you guys $1,000, but you have to trade it on leverage. Will you guys do it? You know what I mean? And a lot of people will say yes, because it's not their money. And they'll probably do well with it because it's not their they're not emotionally attached to it, which is very important. So be very smart with the way you deal with money and the way you deal with your accounts when this is all happening, just by separating it all and making it very easy for yourself to understand. So Fantom's definitely one of the big ones. The next one I want to speak about quickly before we jump to the rest is Near Protocol. So we've been speaking about this a lot. I was buying a lot of Near around $2, around 1.8, and I did get more around 1.3. But ultimately, this is waking up. There is some news of a partnership at the moment, and therefore we're starting to get a nice acceleration to the upside. But this is what I'm speaking about when it came to Fantom now. You see what happens when a coin finally starts getting through major resistance. It starts to flow very quickly. So now what happened is this previous area that was resistance is now the buy zone. So any retest at the moment, shorter time frame at 1.5, I'm getting in. Because after that, there is another gap that gets to around 1.8 to the $2 range. And if the momentum continues, as we see on the weekly chart, and I'll show you guys on the weekly over here, is the RSI at the weekly has just lifted to the upside now as we speak. Just zoom in here. Hold on. There we go. As we speak. So for me, it's like this could end up being a position that we hold for the next 2 months. And therefore, if this makes its way to the $2 range and breaks that major trend line, we could be seeing this going up to the $3 mark. So ultimately, at the moment, I'm focused on seeing volume finally coming into Near as we speak. And I think it's going to be one of the very high performing tokens. And you can see very much over here. So Near, again, guys, you're holding it. It looks really, really, really strong at the moment. And I think the continuation to the upside is going to be strong. Now, the next big one I want to speak about over here is Aptos. So if you look at Aptos at the moment, it started this little downtrend. It's one of the new tokens this year. And ultimately, strong break of trend as we speak. Now, you might get a daily close today outside of this trend. Therefore, the reason why you love these long-term breakouts is because your risk to reward is incredible when it comes to these. So you want to basically take your long position over here and you want to pop in the close. What is the close? The close is basically above 7.7. $7.7, and you got a daily close about Aptos. Now, emotion or not, or whatever you care fundamentally is in the market, it's showing that there should be volume coming into this token, and you should accelerate very quickly to the next major resistance, which is at $10. But if I take this in over here and I see a weekly close, it is so easy for me to enter the trade because I can just put my stop loss right below the previous low, and that is sitting around a 5 to 6% risk. So it's more around about a spot trade than a leverage trade right now. But ultimately, then what I do is I take the top to the bottom and I run a fib tool, and it gives me the 618 and a horizontal of where this can be going to. And what it's pointing to is around about the $14 mark, and we're sitting around the $7 mark now. So for me, I'm taking this trade on a spot account. Not everything is leverage. Where you're going to make a lot of money here is getting a good entry and being able to hold the whole wave. Leverage, you're going to get in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. When it comes to this, your spot accounts should really be performing well now, especially now and the weeks to come, because you're holding them, you're getting in a great range, and you can hold them for a few weeks. So for me, this is one of those trades over there. It's one that I think is still early. It hasn't started that strong push to the upside just yet. And I'm focusing on these entries within today, and this could be up to 100% move. Now, one of the next ones, which is interesting, this is what I spoke about, those resistances. I think this is early, guys, is APE token. Okay. Now, APE, all the other tokens have already started this rally. Remember, we had those dump offs 2 weeks ago, and we had this huge gap created on the left side. Now, what we know after that is once price settles and it goes sideways for a while, if you break it on the other side, it can go up just as fast as what it came down. And we've seen that with a lot of altcoins. We saw a lot of them, how they started to catch up, to the upside. And that's what we're seeing with Near Protocol right now as things speak. And if I actually go to Near over here, look here, drop, sideways. As soon as we got through the gap, what happened? Look at that. All got absorbed. Now you take that and you look at the same pattern and you look at it on APE token. There's APE. So here for me, my buys, we were just near there now, is around 2.4. 2.4 is a resistance break to a support, from resistance into support. And I think APE's going to be one of the next big ones. Where does the move go? I have two resistances at the moment. I have one that's sitting in the area of the 2.8 mark. And I have the next resistance, which is at the top mark over here around 3.1, 3.2. So APE, another huge, great token for the day. You can see it starting to wake up. And now it's going to finally start that squeeze that all the altcoins have already hit. The next one that I've taken personally at the moment, and this is a spot trade, but it's also a leverage trade that I want to hold for a little while longer, is Optimism. So if you have a look at Optimism, at where it hit, firstly, there was a really big double bottom over here, where you had this left side of the previous rally bottom to over here, hitting on the exact mark and a reaction. Now we are breaking current trend at the moment to the downside, and we are retesting. So I'm buying this retest at the moment, anywhere between the 1.25 and the 1.31, 1.32. And my stops are going just under the previous lows over here, the previous wicks of the retest. And I think from here, we go up to the major resistance that all the other tokens are facing. I'm finding what's next, what's moving fast next. And ultimately, that is sitting at the areas of the 1.8 mark. So I'm not too worried. I'm having bigger stop losses on this trade at the moment. And currently, I'm building this trade around a $70,000 position, and I'm taking my time to build it. And I'm running a bigger stop loss for this trade. But what I'm looking for the trade is I'm looking at a return at the moment of up to 40%. And therefore, that can be a $28,000 return for me on that trade. And therefore, I'm finding what is next to move. So Optimism, this looks really good at the moment. You have the weekly stochastics reset, and risk to reward. It's just very easy for me to understand how to take the current trade at the moment. The next one is a big one, and it comes to the weekly, guys. So I'll quickly jump to the daily and show you what we're seeing on the daily is Algorand. So Algorand got hit like really hard. I don't think it's a terrible project. I think it's good fundamentally. I think the team is still good. I still think it's as good as what it's ever been. But ultimately, it did get hit really hard. But what we are starting to see here on the daily is we can be very near a daily breakout. And if we do end up breaking above the 14-cent mark on the daily close, therefore it's indicating that a breakout's coming and volume's incoming. And then I look at that and I look at where are the possible gaps of where this could run to. It's got a little bit of resistance now at 16. But after that, we can be back to the 22-cent mark pretty quickly. So I'm looking at this trade over here. But then what I did is I started to zoom out. And I'm like, okay, let's see where this is at on the higher. And I see an incredible double bottom. Like I really do. I see this as a really big play on the weekly. And I think spot accounts and money that you're willing to trade for a little bit longer, I think this could be insane entries, guys. I really do. Because you have the double bottom area here. So it's very easy on where to know where to put your stop loss, which will be pretty big right now. But ultimately, I think this will start to make its way to the upside. Once it gets past 24 cents is where I start to see the huge increase in price. But this for me is a huge double bottom on the weekly. And this can result in an entry that can be firstly a 200%, so just back to this top here. Secondly, a 600% to this top here. Thirdly, a 12x to this top over here. And that's not even going anywhere near to the all-time high areas, which can be up to a 20 to a 25x within the bull run if we don't break all-time high and we just go test the highs. So I think ALGO right now has been way overhit too hard. I think we've got a perfect bullish pattern playing out right now. And we've only just had the weekly stochastic RSIs cross to the upside at the moment. The way you make money in this market, guys, is getting good entries and holding them for a good period. And then having smaller accounts to just trade the ins and outs. But this for me, like, I don't know what more you want. So do some research on ALGO, see if you like it fundamentally, if you like the team, everything that's happening there. We did see the activity last night. There's still a lot of activity. Nothing's gone zero or to the ground or anything like that. And chart-wise, it looks insane. It really looks insane for gains to the upside. One of the next ones, 𝗵𝗵𝗍𝗍. Let's speak about 𝗵𝗵𝗍𝗍. So this is breaking on the daily. So I think we're going to have 𝗵𝗵𝗍𝗍 pump. Especially for the spot accounts. It's in buy zone right now as we speak, and we are breaking this trend at the moment. What you want to pay attention to is getting above the 200 weekly moving average is when you can start to see acceleration. So for example, if you look at the previous play that happened, it came up at 40 here for a little while, and once got through it nicely, it then accelerated. So the same thing here. We're basically fishing and buying the early break of trend. Remember, the reason why you like trend lines, because it can be, especially on a long trend, it can be getting you in earlier before the major indicators come into play. So what I'm doing is I'm fishing in over here. I know that it can take a little bit of a time around the 80 cents to the 85-cent mark, but above that, I start to see acceleration. And my current TP on this move at the moment is just to the 618 from the top to the bottom, which highlights with the 618 and a horizontal level over here. And that ultimately is around 1.2 to 1.3. dollars. So if I look at that percentage wise of where the trade's at the moment, a 60 to a 70% trade is what I'm looking at 𝗓𝗏𝗍𝗍. We know fundamentally it's very strong, and we know it's one of the newer tokens, because what we want to see on this next pump now is, it's weird to see Bitcoin Cash and see the older tokens wake up. But what is it going to be this time? Is it going to be all the new coins? Is all the coins still going to rally like they did last time? This is why it's very important to just diversify your current portfolio. Then what we're seeing is we had 𝗬𝗏𝗡. So we had an 𝗬𝗏𝗡 explosion, and I think it's going to retest over the next 2-3 days. So there's definitely interest here. It got stopped at the 200, and I think any retests of the area of 58 to the $62 mark will be a great area if you like 𝗬𝗏𝗡 fundamentally to load up on your spot accounts. I don't think this candle was there for nothing. I don't think it broke those walls for nothing, and I do think that there's a nice uptrend coming of possibly up to $90 to $100 that comes within 𝗬𝗏𝗡. The rest of the tokens we're sort of waiting for at the moment. We spoke about Chainlink. That's why I'm no longer in the short-term short at the moment. I thought quickly last night, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen fast. Didn't happen that quick at the moment. Ended up making 1 or 2%. But now it looks like it's very near this breakpoint over here. So just pay attention to Chainlink, because if you take this daily trend over here and you see the breakout, it has retested at the moment. But where it really starts to accelerate is getting through these areas of 6.3 and a daily close above. If that starts to happen, I can see this now start making its way to the higher levels of the $7 to $8. Got to remember, Chainlink's been in this range now for a while, testing basically between the $5 mark all the way to the high levels of the $10 mark. So it's been ranging there for a while. So if Chainlink does decide to make a little bit of an uptrend over the next few weeks, I do probably think that it's going to go yet again to the top range, which it's done 5 times already in the last year, and that's back to the $10 mark. Once we're through that, then we start looking at the higher areas. And that's why you got to fish at the bottom range over here, because you never know when this starts to make its way up, if it does finally turn that. And when it turns that, now all of a sudden you're looking at incredible entries that you can hold throughout the whole bull market. And that's a big one. Litecoin's quiet. XRP is quiet at the moment. Not many other tokens are moving. We have this Lina token moving. It's a bit too volatile. Many tokens look too bullish. Exactly. So just take a little bit more time with them. A lot of them are already gone. And if you go to these bubbles over here and you see like these tokens that have already done these crazy percentages, they're not the ones to buy right now. It's more to see what are the other ones. Like Ethereum for me is still a big one. We got 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏, we got 𝗦𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏, we got 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. There's a lot more to speak about. But the main thing I just want to focus about today is surviving the short-term pullback that's currently in play. Once that's in play, we can load up on a few tokens. We can get our stop losses in. And if we break trends by later today, later tomorrow, we can go full bull. Like we can literally go bull and build up positions, because Bitcoin's going to attempt that 36 to 38K very quickly if we do so. I want to get Bill on here. What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
What's happening? What you looking at?
I see you pretty much covered every altcoin in the entire crypto ecosystem.
Yes.
So yeah, look, Injective. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching this one all day. It kind of hit our area that we were looking at last night, this little zone over here, which was quite nice. But now we're sitting at resistance. So, if you were long from this sort of region down here, this is a TP zone until we start looking at breaking up here, and get our next push.
If it does break that, I think it's going to fly.
Yeah, no, it's going to cook. Just like you were saying earlier on your BTC stuff, I'm watching similar things to you. I'm just watching levels. I'm just playing like the areas. I'm watching if BTC pulls back to this zone, where am I going to be on these alts, and that sort of thing. So I've got a few that I've been trying to pick up for you guys. This is KSM, daily chart. We've seen a break of the trend. We've seen the pullback. So, if BTC behaves in this sort of area, I like KSM here. Mm-hmm. So again, subject to where BTC is going to finish. DOT was sort of front running KSM. It's broken its $5 resistance. So now it's in a new sort of range for me. So I'm now watching this move to this 200-day, which is going to be quite big. So I just want to see DOT sort of consolidate here and nothing serious. For that.
We're still waiting for the dots on that run, no?
GALA we were looking at last night. Massive weekly resistance area.
I got $40,000 to go on a long right now. Where do I go?
Give me 1 second.
Where do I go, sir? What do you think?
Bro, you're going to take... Okay, so here's render. You want to go $40,000, you wait for render to break. Okay, I'm watching this trend on the 4 hour. It could be a banger. We got the double bottom we were talking about last night. So, you know, if anyone got that long from there, not bad. BCH obviously showing so much strength at the moment. I mean, BCH, BSV, Stacks, 𝗵𝗵𝗆. It feels like a bad rash, that thing at the moment. But I see 𝗵𝗵𝗆 was up 60%. We need to look at things that are pushing here. So BCH, I'm looking at this. I'm just tracking this trend for now. I'm trying to find you your $40,000 trade. Hold on. Curve, DeFi pumped this weekend. AAVE, Curve, Uni, they all went. Here's a possible scalp coming on Curve 8 hour down to this trend that I got my eye on down here. Uni, massive weekly
I don't know, it
trend.
just feels like this market can just wake up at any moment again. The alts, they've just been bleeding for like months. Like, I won't be surprised.
Dude, but look how like these DeFis, they woke up this weekend. Like, what's the story here, you know? So AAVE, I'm looking at the same as you. You know, a dream entry will be down here at this 59 area, and AAVE can churn, really. This thing can go.
I do agree.
Aptos, we're on the same page. Litecoin, guys, 200-day MA. Again, just, you know, playing this 200-day MA all the time. You can see there's some sort of consistent selling and buying going on here. It's very sort of organized, these candles here on Litecoin. But look how this 200-day MA just holds the support here the whole time. So, you know, we're looking for a move up here off this zone, ideally. But it's quite an easy long. You know, you buy it deep onto this 200-day MA. Your stop losses are very tight. You know, and maybe we get that turn and then we just push up from there.
It just starts the thing. Okay, amazing, bro. Amazing.
And here's the stack scalp from last night. It wasn't like a long-term play, but, you know, here we are. It's broken this little trend. I still think, you know, the best entries that you're talking about are lower down, 100% agree. But yeah, potential scalp here for now on stacks.
We just may not get it. That's the scary thing about when things go bullish. It's like we wait for the pullback. They don't always happen.
Bro, that's when I start pulling out that 236 fib, the ultra bullish one, you know. So when we get these big moves, you know, we stop looking at 382, we stop looking at 618, and we start seeing, you know, what we're getting off these 236s. So yeah, you might have to add that to your armory, guys.
Amazing. Appreciate it, brother. I think it just comes down to, does Bitcoin go test lower areas today? If not, we're going to go up again from here. And we just got to find the trend breaks, find the tokens that are breaking early, find the ones that are breaking to Bitcoin, and trade. That's it. Don't hate it. Don't nothing, just trade it. And that's a big one. Appreciate it, brother.
Sweet, man. Later.
Cool, bro. Much love, Banter fam. Let's see where we're at today. I've given you guys the trades that I'm looking at for today. And like I say, if Bitcoin doesn't decide to test the mid 29,000s, anything like that today, we're going to go again. And if it breaks that 31,000 on the next one with that dominance push, I think we're going to be at 35 very quickly. So I'm focusing on those trades at the moment. Let's see where we end up today. And then we're back tomorrow and we continue strong. Live trading sessions, everything. I have Sniper School tomorrow night. Make sure you're there. And much love, Banter fam. I'll see you all tomorrow.